It's time for Wise Money with Korhorn Financial Group with certified financial planners Kevin Korhorn, Mike Bernard, and Josh Gregory.
Welcome to another episode of the Wise Money Show with Korhorn Financial Group, where every week we're helping you take your next wise step in your financial life. Thanks for being here, friends. My name is Mike Bernard. I'm your host. I'm also one of the certified financial planners on the program. And with me in the KFG studios, my business partners and fellow CFPs, Kevin Korhorn and Josh Gregory.
Choosing when to claim Social Security is one of the biggest financial decisions you're going to make in your lifetime. And the impact is far bigger than many realize, with the difference being potentially $100,000 or more over your lifetime. So what are the top reasons to draw Social Security early, and what are the main reasons to wait? That and more coming up on this hour of Wise Money.
You know, before we started recording, Kevin asked the question, are they talking about this enough on the campaign trail? And I'm going to say no. I mean, we know, Kevin, you said in the past, you know, the Social Security car is going 80 miles an hour down a cul-de-sac.
Yes.
You know, and we know it, and yet there's
the problem is there's not a house at the end of the cul-de-sac, there's a cliff.
But other than that, it's really, no. We're going to help you with that. We're going to explain the reasons to draw early, the reasons to wait, and then, but most importantly, how do you know? For you, there's no one size fits all. If you have a question for the program, we'd love to hear from you. You can call or text us, 574-222-2000. That's 574-222-2000. Online, wisemoneyshow.com is where you can find us. Leave questions there as well. And then all over social media, wherever you're at, we are there as well. Search The Wise Money Show. Yeah, Kevin's right. Making this decision, when to draw Social Security, there's emotions involved. There's numbers. There's the uncertainty. It's one of the biggest financial decisions you're going to make in your life. Mm-hmm. The question is, are you going to make that decision just driven by emotions? Are you going to make it just looking at an online calculator? Or are you actually going to get advice in the comprehensive financial planning work that we do for our clients? We optimize Social Security. We analyze it, all sorts of different ways, but not just based on the numbers, based on your real life and your plan. And in that optimization, that work that we do, for a client that I'm just working with recently, the difference was over $250,000, whether they draw at one time versus another. That's a lot. That's a lot of money.
Right.
That is a lot of money. So,
well, and here's the reality. People are getting advice on this subject all the time. It's just not always specific to them. It's not unique to their own plan. It's not necessarily from an advisor, a professional of some sorts. If you're one who is getting close to Social Security age or drawing in retirement, and you find yourself kind of inquiring amongst all your friends or your neighbors or whatever, and the best advice is, hey, take it at this age because that's what I did. That may not be the best advice, right? It may not have even been the best move for that individual that you're checking in with. And so to treat this as a true financial planning topic or a true financial planning question, I think is really important. And that's where your certified financial planner can help you address this individually for you.
And the right CFP is not going to say, oh, well, you're going to have to delay. I think there's some of you that might right now say, I don't know if I want to go see someone because I want to take it early and they're going to tell me to wait. No, have that conversation with them. And they're not going to think one size fits all. They're a fiduciary in your corner. You've got to be working with the CFP doing planning. They're the ones that'll give you the guidance. But yeah, they'll work through it with you. So, all right, before we get into some of the reasons to draw it early, some of the reasons to delay, and then how you make this decision, let's just set the table. You guys remember when early in our careers, when folks would come in and say, well, at 65, I have to draw Social Security. And they would say it like that. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. At 65,
like I have no choice.
Yeah, at 65, I have to draw Social Security. And not only was that not true then, it's certainly not true now. There's a full retirement age, and there's an earliest age you can draw, and there's a latest age that you can draw, and then there's, it depends in between.
That's right. That's right. And the point here is just that you need to know all of these different ages because there's calculations associated with them, and how much you're going to be able to draw over your lifetime all matters on, it's all determined by what age do you begin and how long are you going to live. None of us know how long we're going to live, and that's part of the fear that causes a lot of people to just make a knee-jerk reaction or turn this into an emotional decision because of fear of the future, right?
Yeah, a lot of financial planning is looking at probabilities and making decisions. And I've seen it where you think, well, this is the range of possibilities, and would you be comfortable with that range? And the client says yes, and there's an event that happens way outside of that range, and it surprises everyone, and everyone feels bad. But that it actually is possible. The only time I will know for sure did I take Social Security at the right time is after I'm gone.
Yeah.
It's an autopsy. It's a financial autopsy. It's not there's nothing predictive that says this for sure is right.
There are some things related to Social Security that are knowable, though, and they are defined, they are factual, and it begins with, well, first of all, what is your full retirement age? That is a knowable number. It is set for you. It's based on what month and year you were born. And if you don't know what your age is, this would be something to go look up. It could be 66 and 11 months. It could be 67. It just keeps getting older and older. But that age 65 that Mike was referring to used to be the full retirement age for so many folks. And they would come in and believe that full retirement age meant that's when you had to start drawing. But that's not the case. In fact, you can draw before your full retirement age. You can go as early as age 62. Now, the drawback to that, though, is every month that you start earlier than your full retirement age, there is a permanent reduction in your benefits. And so if your full retirement age is 67 and you started at 62, the earliest possible age, you've got 5 years worth of reductions essentially built into your benefits.
I believe it's a sort of complicated calculation that's done, but I believe in that circumstance where your full retirement age is 67, you draw immediately at 62. The reduction is a 30% reduction permanently.
That's right.
Permanently.
The rest of your life.
Yeah. Now, if you'd say, no, I'm still working at 67, or I have other income sources, I want to delay Social Security, then each month that you wait after that full retirement age, your Social Security continues to go up. And it will go up approximately 8% per year. And many times they've heard that and they think, oh, it's a yearly calculation. No, it's a monthly change. But over a year, it's about an 8% increase, all the way up until your 70th birthday. And at age 70, that's, if you haven't drawn Social Security by then, you're going to draw it then. That's the last, that's when it stops increasing.
Yeah, not necessarily. The surprising thing to me is when we meet with new clients and what they do and don't understand about Social Security. And that's not a criticism. It is incredibly complex. But I've met with clients where they had a spouse that was 71 and change and wasn't drawing Social Security yet. Now that spouse was older and the younger spouse was still working, so they were thinking, well, we'll both draw when the younger spouse does. But the reality is the older spouse, as soon as they hit 70, because nothing is going to happen, Mike, you almost made it sound like it's automatic. Like, on your 70th birthday, you're going to get a card in the mail that says, congratulations, here's your first Social Security check. No, you have to actually take some action. And if you don't, who's looking out for you? No one.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So something to pay attention to. In fact, we often say, 2 to 3 months before you want that check to begin rolling in, that's when you start putting all the wheels in motion, right? You start the process of signing up, and this often, for a lot of people, involves also signing up for Medicare Part A and B and getting supplements in place. Those are all the healthcare side of your retirement decision, but they're not always necessarily made at the exact same time as your Social Security decision.
Yeah. Medicare still is 65, and even though Social Security necessarily isn't. We're going to get to, well, how do you make this decision? Okay, this is a planning decision. Again, one of the biggest financial decisions you're going to make in your life. But I do want to point you to a resource. And Josh, before we started recording, was expressing some frustration about this. But it used to be that you would get some of these details on a mailer in the mail, a green, a white piece of paper with green text on it, before your birthday every single year. Here's your amount of Social Security at 62, at your full retirement age at age 70. Well, now you go to SSA.gov and you log in, and you can actually see it every single year at 62, 63, 64. It's actually better for a planning purpose, but yeah, the login it gets a little complicated. So that's a resource that you're going to want to go to, and you're going to want to provide that information to your certified financial planner, and then they're going to help you optimize and decide when it's best for you to draw Social Security. Should you draw early? What are the reasons to delay? We've got that and more coming up on the Wise Money Show with Korhorn Financial Group. Hello, YouTube. Thanks for being here. This is the Wise Money Show. What you're watching right now is our weekly 1-hour talk show that airs right here on this channel, 10 a.m. Eastern Time every Saturday morning, and also on podcasts at the same time, but also on a couple local radio stations, which is why it's a talk show. It's set up the way that it is. Lengthy, yes, and sort of we're just, talking through several different scenarios and big picture topics. If that's not for you, if that's not your style, we've got Next Wise Step videos that air right here on this channel every single weekday, Monday through Friday, taking one financial concept, applying it directly to your financial life. So make sure you hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications so you're ready to aware every time we drop new content. If you like the content, share it as well. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Good.
When you sign up for Social Security, you're automatically signed up for Part A. Mm-hmm. Going back 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
If you're 65 or older.
Correct.
Right.
So that's the tricky thing, because that is what kicks you out of the HSA eligibility
Right.
bandwagon.
Right.
So there's nothing simple about it.
All right, so let's free flow, popcorn. What are just the reasons why you might take it at 62? Not necessarily, hey, you've got to do planning and all that sort of stuff, but just sort of what are the reasons we've seen why someone should draw at 62? And then we'll see how long that takes. Maybe in this segment.
I have 10 reasons.
All right, let's do it.
9.
You'll be able to say one of those probably. I'm just kidding. All right, here we go. There's no one-size-fits-all approach with Social Security. There isn't. You've got to look at your unique financial situation, and that will help determine when it's best for you to draw. Now, what are the reasons why you should draw early or draw late? We're helping with that right now. This is the Wise Money Show with Korhorn Financial Group. Thanks for being here. My name's Mike Bernard. With me in the KFG studios, Kevin Korhorn and Josh Gregory. Every episode of the Wise Money Show is on podcast. Wherever you listen, just search the Wise Money Show. Subscribe to it there. And rate the program there as well. We appreciate it. That's helpful feedback for us. As we're doing comprehensive financial planning, looking at all 6 areas of someone's financial life, of your financial life, one of the big decisions that sits sort of at the intersection of each of those is when to draw Social Security. When is it best? Emotionally, you want to draw it early. I know you do, because there's the uncertainty. You don't know how long you do know how long you've been paying into it. You have no stinking idea what the government's been doing with that money. You have no idea how long you'll live. You have no idea whether they're going to do Social Security reform and whether you're going to like it or not. You just don't know. And oftentimes that leads people to draw immediately. I've referenced this before, but we are financial planners. That's what we love. We're not radio show personalities by any means. Early on, when we just started, I wrote a blog called Oedipus and Social Security, and I don't think people know what the story of Oedipus anymore. But poor guy heard was it Oracle, and like this is going to happen. Some awful stuff is going to happen to you. And so he fled. It's like, I'm not doing that. I'm not falling for that. I'm getting out of here. Well, it turns out by him getting out of there, that kicked off this chain of events where he walked right into these awful things that were predicted for him. And I think most people, when it comes, so here again, Oedipus said, this is, he heard this is going to happen to me, said, no, I'm going to take control. It won't happen. And by taking control, he actually did exactly what he wanted to avoid. Social Security. I don't know. It could change. I might not live very long. Therefore, I need to take control. And in doing so, you may actually be stepping right into the trap of getting less Social Security than you otherwise would, right? So the point is planning, all right? Now, there are times, certainly, when you're going to draw Social Security right away, and your CFP is going to help you and tell you that's what's best for you. Guys, what are some of those times when you draw Social Security early?
You know, the number one reason that comes to my mind is related to health, actually. And unfortunately, we've been financial planners for a long, long time, and so we've gotten to walk with a lot of clients on their journey, and we've got to experience their story and watch it unfold. And unfortunately, from time to time, there are folks who get a really terrible diagnosis. You know, it's something that gives them some kind of indication that their life expectancy is not going to be as long as we thought or hoped or predicted or anything. They're facing a different future and not as long potentially. Again, no one knows the future. You don't know how long you're going to live. And I've certainly seen folks live for a long time with a diagnosis and outlive what the doctors think they're gonna live and everything. But if there's a break-even age for each individual where, boy, the longer you wait to draw Social Security, the better off you're going to be as long as you live long enough, right? If you were to pass away early or sooner than you think, then drawing Social Security earlier is in your best interest because you're just maximizing the number of months that you're actually collecting on this benefit that you've been paying into.
And you've probably done this math, but if you are drawing Social Security right away, you're withdrawing less out of your own retirement dollars. Mm-hmm. Versus if you delay, you're drawing more sooner and then hopefully less later. The break-even point depends on each person, but somewhere in your late 70s, maybe 80, is if you live beyond that, then technically it probably would have been better for you to delay. Mm-hmm. So not very long.
Right.
Yeah.
And to oversimplify, you'd say if your life expectancy is less than normal or someone else in your age range, you should consider taking it. The issue is, am I still working? Because if I'm 62 and I'm still working and I'm in poor health and I take Social Security, it's going to be reduced. And oftentimes I've had clients that have said, okay, I'm going to take Social Security. A lot of times they aren't working at the time. They take Social Security at 62. They get an opportunity to go to work, and they say, hey, I'm making above the amount that I am allowed to make. Therefore, my Social Security benefit will be reduced just ever so slightly, so I'm not going to work. And in that case, I always recommend no work. Mm-hmm. You will have so much more net in your pocket if you work and take Social Security. But for sure, health is one of those considerations. And the other thing...
Hey, before you go off that, can we unpack that rule just a little bit? Because we didn't hit that in the first segment.
Yeah.
And helping people understand that if you retire or start drawing Social Security before full retirement age, it doesn't mean that you can't keep working, because a lot of people think that they're limited or you're just not allowed to work anymore. It's just that you're limited in the amount that you can earn without having some sort of impact upon your Social Security benefits. Here in 2024, that's a little over $22,000. It's $22,320. You're allowed to earn that amount and have no impact on that Social Security, which has already been reduced, by the way, right?
Yeah.
Because by definition, if you draw Social Security before your full retirement age, there's going to be a permanent reduction. We're talking about a further penalty or a further reduction if your earnings, your wages, go over that $22,320 number.
Mm-hmm. Many people, I think this is an enormous Social Security mistake, is, well, as soon as I'm able to draw 62, I'm going to stop working or I'll reduce my hours and I'll start drawing Social Security. I feel like the American dream has morphed into how can I get something for nothing? And I feel like, and sorry for getting on a soapbox right there with that comment, that's tied to a lot of other thoughts too, but that oftentimes can be a trap, or you can walk right into what Josh was mentioning, where you not only take a reduced Social Security, it's further penalized because people aren't aware of this issue. Mm-hmm. Okay, Kevin, you were sharing some of the reasons why you draw early. Yeah, so poor health is one. Keep going.
Yeah, well, if I don't have a job, I would likely draw Social Security. Or if with my job I can go down to half-time. I mean, the thing that I'm not a cynic, but I've seen this happen so many times where someone hasn't really given retirement a shot, and they say, okay, I'm gonna retire, I'm gonna stop working, I'm gonna draw Social Security. Perfect. And then they do that in that order: retire, draw Social Security, and then they say, I actually liked working, and they keep calling me, and they want me to come back and work part-time. And that is, once the camel has its nose under the tent, it is soon all the way in the tent.
Yeah.
And so once you start, and then that's the question. Well, what should I do, and how do I do that? That's probably for a different show. But I would say if you're not working and you're retired, the other thing is if your spouse is older and is drawing Social Security, and it makes sense financially for you to take either your Social Security or half of your spouse's Social Security, then I would say do it. I mean, we see what it's like, having done this for 30 years. I see what it's like for people to be in the go-go, the slow-go, and the no-go years.
Yeah.
I see what it's like for the couple where now one of the spouses is no longer with us, and the excitement about traveling or doing some of these other things with the resources that they have, it's just not what it used to be. Yeah. And so you say, well, try and find a way to do some of those things while you still can carry your luggage and you've got the energy to hike up that hill or whatever it is you want to do.
I mean, one of the other reasons to draw Social Security early is if you're a widow or widower. Yeah. You actually could draw Social Security at age 60, and the loopholes that have been closed with drawing strategies, Social Security drawing strategies, you're still eligible for one. They left it open for those that are widows. So there's family type stuff that you need to consider. Another reason to potentially draw early is if you have a minor child at home, and you might say that'll never happen. It happens. It happens, especially with this prolonged adolescence we got going on. I bet it's going to happen a lot in the future. But if you're drawing Social Security and you have a child under the age of 18 in your household, guess what? It's not just you that get Social Security. They get Social Security as well. So you want to be aware of that. All right. What about the reasons to delay Social Security? We've got that and more coming up on the Wise Money Show with Korhorn Financial Group. Now, I don't know if I'm just going or if I'm just not in a ticklish mood, but Kevin was giving me the clock eye. Isn't that hilarious?
I almost gave him the finger. Yeah.
Look, are you aware of the clock? As soon as I press go, I've been aware of it.
I want to see that happen sometime. Where you just step in and take us to break. Just steal his job. I want to see that.
That is what I'm going to do. I'm going to swerve out of my lane and squarely into Mike's.
That's funny.
Oh, dear.
All right.
Okay, so is that your plan? Are you thinking Easton, you're going to pay for his college with Social Security?
Easton's young, but not that young.
It's Easton's younger sibling.
Oh, yeah. That will not happen.
Okay, so
number 4.
So I think that scenario is typically the grandparent has custody.
Right.
Although not always.
Well, no, you're right. Sure. But I mean, I would bet there's somebody listening who is a grandparent.
Oh, yeah.
Who has custody, or you have to adopt them or whatever it is. But
yeah. Do you have?
If we have listeners in Hollywood, this would be a subject that you see a lot.
Do you have a few more, Kevin? You want to mention?
Okay. Immediate financial need, health concerns, job loss, or inability to work, personal or family circumstances, avoiding debt, flexibility in retirement planning, spousal considerations, lower lifetime earnings. If your lifetime earnings are, Social Security is set up to benefit the farmer who never had meaningful income because they always bought another piece of equipment or fill in the blank. And then uncertainty about Social Security's future. But
we're going to hit that.
We are?
Yeah.
In
it just depends.
Fifth segment?
Yep.
Okay.
Do you want to quickly popcorn those, or do you say, nah, there's not any there that move the needle beyond what we've talked about?
I mean, we've kind of touched on
I'll open the door, and if you want to hit any quickly.
To me, it would be the financial, but to me, it's a financial plan.
Yeah.
Hey, it makes sense financially that with these resources, I can cover it. But there's a meaningful reason to not take it at 62.
I think that's a good segue if I can thread the needle here.
So so are you going to hit that?
Sure.
Okay, then I won't hit
You
it.
might be able to say it better than whatever comes out of my mouth here. All right, third segment. Here we go. It is quite unpopular to say I'm going to delay Social Security. However, mathematically or for your plan, it might make an enormous difference. What are the reasons why you would delay Social Security? We're hitting that right now. This is the Wise Money Show with Korhorn Financial Group. Thanks for being here. My name is Mike Bernard. With me in the KFG studios, Kevin Korhorn and Josh Gregory. Every episode of the Wise Money Show, as well as a lot of other content, is on the YouTube channel. Well over 1,000 videos helping you take your next wise step in your financial life. So go to YouTube, search the Wise Money Show, subscribe to it, turn on notifications so you're made aware next time we drop new content, and you can easily share it with others as well and leave questions there. So go to YouTube, search the Wise Money Show, subscribe. All right, we're talking about Social Security, reasons to draw early, reasons to delay, and then how do you decide? We'll get to that here in just a second. But of the several reasons that we just shared, hey, you probably are going to want to draw early if you fit into one of these categories. Here's one other one, and this one's sort of like the obvious, but it's not the approach many people take. And that is, you've built out your 5-factor retirement plan. You've run the miles, and you've done the planning work, and you can see clearly, here's what retirement looks like. Here's the confidence rate that this plan works. And drawing at Social Security works. Mm-hmm. Your retirement plan has a high degree of confidence. And we run this analysis and working with clients to look at, okay, well, if you draw here or at this age or whatnot, and you look at the difference, and for whatever reason in your circumstance, whether health reasons or whatever, you look and there's not a meaningful difference in your retirement confidence rate by drawing early versus delaying. That's a time when you might say, I'm going to draw early. I've had plenty of scenarios where we've done that optimization and said, you know what, it would make sense to delay. Okay, but does my plan work if I draw right away? Yeah, and actually the confidence rate's 96%. So the plan works. And the client says, all right, then I'm going to draw early. Because the plan works either way. And we don't know, my life expectancy. So I'm going to just draw.
Yep, absolutely. It could also, drawing early, maybe gets you through a rough patch financially, or allows you to leave some investments intact and let them recover from a bear market or something like that. So Social Security drawing, yes, it always should be a decision that's made in the context of your financial plan. It should already be tested or stress test with your financial advisor to determine, does this work mathematically for us based on the assumptions that you're making. But just recognize that sometimes life throws stuff at you that may cause you to pivot and to go to Plan B. And Plan B might be drawing Social Security earlier than you thought. One reason that some people end up taking Social Security a little bit early or earlier than they intended was maybe they lose their job. They're kind of thrust into retirement earlier than they thought. Maybe your industry has a major pullback and there's layoffs and things like that you just hadn't anticipated. And you may not want to start over in a new industry or a new employer or whatever. And if the numbers work and you can start Social Security earlier, it may make sense. We saw this a lot in COVID, didn't we?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah, I think this show is top reasons to draw Social Security early. And to me, I think we should rename it to top reasons to talk to your financial planner. Because this is a show about financial planning. If you have a financial planner, make sure they're certified. Make sure they do more than just help you with investments. Because you could look at two similar situations and say one should draw Social Security and the other one shouldn't. And it's hard to distinguish between the two. Mm-hmm. So if you're talking to your neighbor across the fence and you say, well, there's not much difference between me and him, why is he drawing Social Security and yet maybe I shouldn't? But especially, I think of other reasons to draw early. At 62, you could be kind of max sandwich generation. Mm. So you could have kids finishing college, and you could have aging parents that you're caring for, you could have both of them living in your home.
Yeah.
And you might say, this is a time where I probably need to not work. If I'm not working, then what's my strategy? Another reason that I'm thinking of is your income is such that the character and the nature of that income doesn't cause your Social Security to be reduced.
Yep.
So you might have passive income. Well, passive income is not earned income, and therefore it doesn't reduce your Social Security.
It doesn't kind of play by the rules that Josh shared earlier. Now I'm gonna take that leap because we need to get into the reasons why you might want to delay, and then how you plan for it. And one of the reasons why you might want to delay Social Security is because you have other income sources. If if you've looked at and built out that 5-factor retirement plan, and hey, we live on about this, like this is the lifestyle that we're accustomed to and we're comfortable here, and we've got these other sources of income that get us pretty close to that, you might just say, well, okay, Social Security. I'm just thinking of one where it's okay. So between your pensions and your what you need to live, it's about $1,000 you need to draw out of your investments. Well, when you turn on Social Security, it's going to be about $2,500. You know what? Let's just draw the $1,000 out of your investments. That's not a big drag because you're so close with your other income sources, and we'll delay your Social Security. And by the time you draw it, it's well over $3,500, and you probably won't need to draw from your investments at all then, and so on. So one of the reasons is you might have other income sources, pensions, or some of that passive income Kevin talked about.
Yeah, and that's something to recognize as well. You may be able to separate the retirement decision the day you stop working and when you start drawing Social Security. So this isn't just delay retirement. It could be stop working, that's fine, but it doesn't mean that you have to immediately turn on the faucet from Social Security. And those that have those other sources of income, or they have other resources that they can draw off of for the early years of their retirement, and they can postpone the drawing of Social Security, the benefit to you is that you get a reward, you get an increased benefit from Social Security, and it grows by 8% per year approximately.
Yep.
So if instead of drawing at full retirement age, let's say that's 67 for you, you delay another year or two, you're going to get an 8% bump by delaying. And that can make a difference in your financial future, right? It can help improve the probability of your retirement working out for you. It can benefit potentially a spouse. Like there's a lot of benefits that can come from you just delaying even another year or two.
And that 8% bump is per year.
Per year.
Mm-hmm. And the good news is that's keeping up with the increased money supply. and the other thing, the little fun fact is you might, and I've done this with some folks, we've waited until January and of the year in which they're 68 or 69, and then just due to them being done working and a variety of other things, you can go back 6 months.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Now, that permanently reduces your benefit by a little bit forever,
Yep.
but that you can get 6 months of benefit. That could be a check for $20,000.
But here's the exciting thing. One of the items on my list for reasons to delay is doing some advanced tax planning. Mm-hmm. So if you say, I don't want to wait, but yes, by delaying Social Security until the next year, until January, I could do more Roth conversions, or I could capture do some tax capital gain harvesting, something like that. Do some advanced strategies. Then turn Social Security on in January. Well, now you've just pushed it into a different tax year, and you've been able to optimize your tax planning opportunities. Even if you say, oh, in January, I do want to go back 6 months, you've pushed that income into that new year.
That's right. It's some last-minute income shifting that you can do. And what if your income was approaching a threshold where you're going to start losing some tax benefits? Or what if you cross into a new IRMAA threshold? IRMAA is related to your Medicare Part B premiums. How much are you going to have to pay in those premiums? By pushing some income into the next year, what if that allowed you to stay under some of those thresholds and avoid some penalties or avoid some extra taxes, that sort of thing? So again, it's some creative planning where you're delaying by 6 months, but you're going to get all that money anyway. You're going to get it in a lump sum just into another tax year is the strategy.
Yeah, that's right. There's longevity reasons. We shared earlier that approximate break even is different for each person, but delaying Social Security, if you live, into your 80s, it's likely better. Well, there's a survivor benefit to Social Security. Whoever, you get the higher of the two, and therefore delaying helps with that equation, helps with your survivor benefit. So all of this boils down to, how do you decide? What's the best way for you? We're going to help you make that decision, that and more, coming up on the Wise Money Show with Korhorn Financial Group. All right, give me
I can't get results for that.
2 seconds.
Web search is restricted for this device.
You aggressive.
Dude, it's always your voice.
This
Why does my watch think you're talking to it?
That is funny.
all these surveillance devices love the golden voice of Mikey B.
When we were having our meeting the other day, someone said sorry 2 or 3 times, and each time the Siri woke up. So need to work with people on their enunciation.
Yeah. What was the context? Like, what are you wearing tonight? Sorry.
What?
Sorry.
I'm not getting it.
It's a gown. It's a garment.
Okay.
Okay.
Come on.
I'll have to look that one
Work
up.
with me. Don't. If I have to work that hard, it's not funny.
I don't wear gowns very often,
Well.
so.
No, but the person, the person, it's a woman's draped garment of South Asia, SARI. Sorry.
Okay.
So there you go.
That was a very funny joke,
Well,
and I learned something.
I know. So we lost our host?
This is the fun thing. So like you mentioned,
Yeah.
so game's about to start.
What?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's how that works.
Well,
Yeah.
all right.
All right.
All right. So
Get
fourth
moving,
segment.
coach.
Tell them to go with the lineup they did yesterday.
That's what I just like. No, here's the lineup. Someone will have to go to the plate meeting with them and write this down. And yeah. So anyway,
That's great.
I can't imagine they're going to start this early, but
Okay. We have 10 minutes left.
okay. So
Yes. That's
yeah.
fourth going into the
Yep.
plane to land it.
Come on.
Okay.
Are there more reasons to delay, or do we get into changes to Social Security?
I don't think we should
All right.
delay. Yes. There are more reasons to delay, but I can make them short if you want.
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay.
And then let's talk about the planning. We're not going to be able to get into questions, so we can hit 5 factors, or how do you decide? Okay? Mm-hmm. All right, here we go. Thanks for being here. This is the Wise Money Show with Korhorn Financial Group. My name is Mike Bernard. With me in the KFG studios, Kevin Korhorn and Josh Gregory. Stay up to date on all Wise Money content. Find us online, wisemoneyshow.com, and then all over social media. Wherever you are at, we are there as well. Search the Wise Money Show. Okay, we're talking about Social Security today. One of the biggest financial decisions you're going to make in your life, and it's emotional, guys. I get it. We get it. And there are times when you're going to want to draw right away. As soon as you retire, turn on Social Security. There are other times when it might make sense to wait a couple of months or a year or a couple of years, or possibly delay all the way until age 70. There's financial reasons to do that, but circumstantial reasons based on your plan. And the big idea, if we could urge you in one way, before you get emotionally vested into a decision, do the planning work with your CFP. I don't know if you've ever thought of this, but have you ever emotionally been committed to a decision and then you didn't even want to ask someone if that was the right thing because you're like, no, this makes sense to me. Well, before you get there, do the planning work with your CFP. So if you've been doing comprehensive financial planning since your 40s or your 50s, and you've been working with a guide on, all right, here's how we're going to determine whether you're on track to retire, and these are the things that you're doing. You're kind of priming the pump on, here's what's likely going to make sense for Social Security, and we'll analyze it at this point. And so yeah, working with your CFP before you get too emotionally connected. Because one of the reasons why you might feel emotionally compelled to draw early is, well, there's a Social Security change coming. We know it. I said earlier, the Social Security car is going 80 miles an hour down a cul-de-sac. So we know there's a change coming. Let me draw really quickly before they change it. I actually, guys, I don't know about it. No one knows the future. This is just a guess. I don't think that should play into your decision of when to draw Social Security.
No, it's, again, having done this for a long time, when I started, people were saying, I really don't want to plan on Social Security in my financial plan because it's not going to be there by the time I get there. And that is possible. A broken clock is right twice a day. And, economists have predicted, 13 of the last 2 recessions. And, so what I think when you're looking at Social Security and am I making this decision, am I still working? Because I'm still working, even at full retirement age or the year that I hit full retirement age, where my benefit wouldn't be reduced if I draw, you want to take a look at that. Because the thing about Social Security, once you turn on that faucet, those benefits will be taxable income, potentially. And it could potentially be 85 cents of every dollar that you would pay taxes on. So it's easiest to almost say, well, you're going to pay tax on all your Social Security. So you may be doing, Mike, you were talking about this advanced tax planning. It may make sense from 62 to 70 to do some fancy footwork with IRA to Roth IRA or various other techniques to pay taxes as you go and then turn on Social Security. And Josh hit it too. If turning on Social Security bumps me over the IRMA limit, might not be a good idea. Now, I could draw I've seen many people draw at full retirement age, still working, knowingly they're going to pay tax on that, but that was just the right amount to, over the next 2 years, finish paying off the house, finish paying off a car. What's that checklist, the retirement readiness checklist that I have that I want to get done? And so that has worked. So it can work to take it prior to 70, even if you're just the big idea is to maximize your benefit.
Yep. Now, Social Security is likely going to change. What's likely going to happen is they will both increase taxes and reduce benefits, but likely for a couple of decades down the road. So when they finally, over the next 10 years, finally do some reform, it'll be for folks that were born, 1990 and thereafter, not the folks that are in retirement or on the cusp. And the reason why I would say that and feel confident is because when you do that, you're tinkering with the economy. Mm-hmm. If you give retirees a pay cut, it's going to be a spending cut. And when there's a spending cut, that has all sorts of ramifications. And if we were in this really tight, fiscally careful environment, then maybe, but we are not, guys. We're in the opposite of that.
Oh, do I want to be obtuse? Because you say if you give retirees a pay cut, but the retirees right now are getting the mother of all pay cuts, and it starts with I. Inflation.
Yeah. Right.
So anyways.
Likely, though, it will be an increase in the FICA tax, or whether that's for everyone or folks that just make above a certain threshold, $400,000 for whatever reason was picked out of thin air. And this full retirement age could be pushed back again. It was pushed back from 65 to 67. We could see it pushed back from 67 and to 70. Who knows? We'll see. But that's likely the change is coming. And I don't know. I just don't see that as a reason to influence when you should draw your Social Security.
Yeah, entitlement reform is a necessity. It doesn't matter whether you're an R or a D or an I. It doesn't matter. It's a math problem. Yeah. And no one wants it. No one wants.
Oh, right.
But you're right, Mike. The amount of money that I actually pay Social Security on, the amount of my income that I pay Social Security on, will likely go up. And there's a number of other changes that the younger folks are going to be kind of stuck with that they won't realize it immediately.
Isn't that the point, though, about Social Security, that each generation is making their own decision on this topic, and you have to make your own individual decision? And that's why it's important that you are process-driven on that decision. Mm-hmm. It's the reason why this is a show about financial planning and not just about Social Security. And to me, this Social Security decision is just part of you figuring out how are you going to fund your future when you're done working.
Yes.
Right? Social Security is just one piece, and it's not going to be the piece. If it is, man, you're vulnerable in your financial future. And I would just argue to say it's not going to work, right? If Social Security is what you are putting all of your hope and faith in, you have to be building up your own resources to supplement that as well. And when you're doing that, you're going to figure out what is the right time for you to draw it. At the end of the day, it boils down to, well, if I don't draw Social Security at the time that I retire, what am I going to do to fund my life instead? Are there other resources that you can draw off of? Are you going to keep working in retirement? Are you just going to cut your lifestyle until Social Security kicks in? I mean, there's decisions surrounding that on what your fallback plan is going to be. But this is what you wrestle with your spouse if you're married, or together with your financial advisor. How do you envision that future for yourself and put yourself in a position where it is achievable? Social Security is just one piece of it, but it's a big decision because it can have major ramifications on all the other areas of your financial life.
Yeah, and so that wrestling or that planning, that proactive work, you heard us reference it earlier. We call it a 5-factor retirement plan. And why do we call it a 5-factor retirement plan? Because there are 5 independent choices, 5 factors, interdependent, that all play into your retirement readiness. This isn't something that you should do and throw together right before you retire. This is something that you should be doing decades before you retire, because it's going to help you shape your decisions, both how you prepare and how much you save, how you invest those dollars, and shape your expectations. All right, the plan is to go at 64. Or, the I word, inflation just took hold. So we either need to save more, or we could wait until 65. Okay, that makes sense. But in that, you're looking at those 5 factors: age, how much you're spending, what your income sources are, how much you're saving or how much you have saved up, and how much investment risk you're comfortable taking with those investments. That third one, income, that's where your CFP is going to optimize Social Security for you. They are going to run various analyses and say, okay, well, if you draw at this time, this is the overall confidence rate of your 5-factor retirement plan. But if you draw here, this is, that changes to this. And then they'll weave that down into a retirement income strategy that will help show, do that math of here's your income sources and how much, here's how much you're spending, here's where the income's going to come from. That's the clarity and the proactive planning you need well in advance of the exact timing of drawing Social Security. So work with your CFP on that, okay? Make sure that they're certified doing comprehensive financial planning. All right, that's all the time we have for today. On behalf of Josh Gregory, Kevin Korhorn, all of us at Korhorn Financial Group, have a great weekend. We'll see you next Saturday for the Wise Money Show with Korhorn Financial Group.
Securities offered through Silver Oak Securities, member FINRA/SIPC. Advisory services offered through KFG Wealth Management, LLC. Doing business as Korhorn Financial Group. KFG Wealth Management, LLC and Silver Oak Securities Incorporated companies are unaffiliated.